in the end, everything is all right. And if it's not all right, it's not yet the end. I always had the belief that there will be an opening and something to live for in this race. And I think it's all right here under the palms.
Let's go driving on this highway. Let me wander far and wide.
See me here on Big Bounce, my companion for the Mini Transat 2025. I arrived 10 days before the start in Les Sables. I did daily checks of the boat to be sure autopilot works, all the ropes, the electrics.
All I see is this orange color. I see it glowing, a burning blaze. I can't recall just why I'm here now, but I still remember better days. Better days. I know that they'll come again. Save me from the sin. Help me carry on.
I have my little stars to always be reminded that we can reach the stars. Si jamais il y a des nuages, moi j'aurai toujours un ciel bien éclairé avec des jolies étoiles et une belle lune. We had a lot of briefings, like for the security, how we would be lifted up with a helicopter if we have to go in the life raft. An introduction of all the drugs we had in our pharmacy in the boat. The race organization put us then a waypoint in the north, that we had the bad weather in the beginning from behind, so downwind and not beating upwind. We had briefings with Lorient Grand Large and Kevin Bloch and Tanguy to get us well prepared for the start. One of the important parts was to have a good plan and be ready what we do with this waypoint that the race organization put us in the north.
Après vous, votre travail sur l'eau, ça va être de vous recaler déjà dans la météo, comprendre lequel scénario est en train de se passer et comment ça se met en place. Et ensuite là-dedans, de recaler du coup la forme de la route idéale.
And the other part was really to take care of me, relax, sleep well, eat, drink, and yeah, just enjoy the time we had. Connected to go into my space, concentrate on the start. The day of the start for me begins always with a little cleaning of the boat that connects me, and I can say hello and bring the boat into the mood. Ça c'est mon petit rituel.
C'est son petit rituel.
Ça va?
Ouais, toi.
Ça va?
Ouais, toi. Salut.
Ça fait plaisir Félix.
On va à l'autre côté.
D'accord. Et en fait, elle n'avait pas quoi. Then it was quite intense emotionally to say goodbye to family, friends that came visiting us and cheering up to leave the pontoon.
La Suisse te regarde.
Good luck. Enjoy a lot, really.
Ja. Merci. Allez, salut.
We're on the road to La Mini Transat. This time we had the chance to start on Sunday. So a lot of people, a lot of emotions along the famous channel where also the Vendée Globe starts. Merci. Bon, c'est parti pour la Mini Transat. But then I managed to be on top at 0 on the line and rounded the first pack, the first mark, which was already an excitement. Start, we had like 6-8 hours, quite easy conditions to go direction of this waypoint. It was more or less straight. We had the chance to eat, to get the life on board rolling. And in the night I felt slowly the wind turning, and that was the announcement of the strong wind that came quite early. So I kept the Chenaker quite long, so I managed to go even a bit more in front and catch up a bit. But then I rolled it and did this maneuver. I tried to put back the tension in the forestay, which is the cable that holds the mast in front. That lashing that broke, so I had to bear away, put a security lashing to be sure to go until the end to La Palma. And at this moment there was really a bad sea state, and during I put this lashing, the boat came up, my jaw went down and hit the balcony. There was a lot of bleed here, and I felt teeth moving, and I have even a small part of teeth in my hand that in the action I threw overboard and offered it to Neptune. First day at midday, it was really intense. I even lost the teeth. We were close to a Danny type. But with this preparation, I had no choice than to continue, because the race cannot be finished due to a little teeth. And then I took really the time at the waypoint to prepare my sails, take the reefs, ballast, put the weight at the good stuff, prepare my food, because it was like 24 hours in rough conditions. But then it was pedal down and really a nice ride. Sure, I did a lot of preparation on the last 2 years technically on the boat. I checked everything, I did a lot of training, so I was well prepared technically, and me and the boat. Yeah, it's 8 in the evening, you hear the sound. We did like the first chive in 30 knots of wind. It's really harsh here, but still alive and going fast. I put a lot of time to prepare this situation with the strong wind, and took my time, and I really felt in phase with the weather. I pushed and could really fly over the waves when the conditions allowed it, and up to 20 knots of speed. Because I had this confidence in my preparation, a boat that holds, the sailboard checked in the front pack, and it was a nice chibing battle and trying where to have more pressure. Yeah, there we see the Spanish coast. I don't see if you see it on the camera, but we're in the entrance. C'est parti! We are going south. Hat
Sunglasses. Let the good times begin. Close to finish there where the wind dropped and we slowly could put out the bigger spinnaker. And then the next day we had a little beep on our tracker. It's written there, stage cancelled, sadly. Yeah, really sad. We did a nice race and unfortunately for the whole race it's better not to continue apparently. For now I go southeast and wait for the next message. Ciao. Once I read the message it was a bit sad because I was in a good position. I was really well in the race. Not even only from the result, but also my mood was really... I'm back in the Transat, I really enjoyed it. Voilà, on train de sécher la garde-robe. L'étape est finie. And to read that the race was cancelled due to Gabriel hit me a bit, but the first goal was to get safe. Perhaps I could have continued, but for the race organization it was more safe for me to go to Lagos. So I went to the left, or to port, we say in sailing. Voilà, here we are in Lagos. For once we are going to visit what we are running by during the race. Beautiful, but not as we planned. So we are here in Lagos, safe. As you can see, the storm is going over us.
Bah, du coup, JD, franchement, on est d'accord, bizarre ça y est.
So I spent 2-3 days with Aurelie and the nice crew of Lagos before continuing to La Palma. Nice little downwind, 3 days, and we'll be there on the islands and enjoy the new fruits. Bye bye Portugal. Thank you Ingrid and the whole team. It was a nice pleasure. See you in La Palma. And that took me like 4 days, but it was sad that it was not the race. But I still enjoyed this delivery because we could sleep with no pressure in the cockpit under the big stars. I saw dolphins, whales. No, it was really a nice end of this first shaken up leg. Premier boisson, voilà, first flying fish. Oh, my poor little friend. Another man from La Palma. A little, mostly. And it's like this, we eat breakfast.
Low rider, drives a little slower. Low rider, a little older.
Même qu'ils amènent un ouragan pour m'arrêter.
Knows every street, yeah. Low rider.
Ah oui, c'est un petit bout.
Un petit bout.
Ça va. T'as toujours ton grand sourire.
Ouais, ça va.
Hello.
Salut.
Merci. Merci. Ça, c'était à fond la caisse. Ben, il y avait le petit malheur là, j'ai essayé de manger du métal mais c'est pas bon. J'ai pris un petit temps pour me mettre dans la course mais en haut j'ai envoyé le speed. Et les autres ils sont partis au tas et moi pas, du coup je me suis barré. Dommage qu'il faut un ouragan pour... Une fois je suis dedans dès le début mais non c'était top. The days coming we welcomed everybody and it was a nice, enjoyable, but still a bit strange because it was a race. But we celebrated to be here and to be ready for the second leg. After checking in the first days the boat to be sure
I have the time to repair. I discovered when I was diving and checking everything under the boat. And the issue on the keel was a little washer that blocks the keel to go in front. And then with the help of the fishermen here, I could lift the boat out, lower the keel, put a new washer. I went 1 week to Switzerland, first to repair my teeth, but also to see friends, be disconnected from the race and the island. And then I came back. First I rechecked the boat, it does the electronics work, solar panels. Also again do some sports, eat well. I also took the time to get out of the harbor and visit a bit the island, have a big view on the sea. I had works to be ready on the boat, and I was really feeling confident for the second leg, because also I knew I had the speed in downwind, and the goal of the second leg was doing 2 weeks downwind. I started with a nice muesli, little nuts, some milk powder, good to start. We have 2 freeze-dried different tastes for the main meals. Some nuts for the energy the whole day, chocolate, no more chocolate, Bompot, never miss the apéro, some gourmandise and some salt. That's what I eat in 24 hours. Well, for sure we need also some little stops to get happy. It's the Bündnernusstorte. Nice start from the east of Switzerland with caramel, nuts and some sugar, so energy for the good mood, but it also reminds me mentally and emotionally that I'm part of this tarte, and I'm allowed to take one piece too if we transform it in result-wise. And some Bedmümpfli in Swiss German is like the little chocolate you get before sleep from close friends.
Merci. Le bleu dans le balcon, antenne vers le haut, écran vers l'intérieur. Et le vert, c'est le spare dans le bateau.
Merci aussi.
situation was quite complicated from weather, and depending on the model, you had to pass in the east or west because we had a cyclone was still in the Caribbean that influenced the whole situation. The models had really difficulty to perceive what really happens. The day before the big start, the boat is ready, and I'm really enjoying to go out tomorrow on this big adventure.
Salut Félix, on compte sur toi pour nous accueillir.
Toi, t'as pas besoin de chance.
Le podium cette année, Félix. Hein.
Ah ouais. Ça s'annonce compliqué dès le début, alors plein de choix, il y a du jeu, du bon vent, du soleil. Non, je crois, je me réjouis vraiment. Ouais. J'ai plus des objectifs personnels. Moi, je suis plutôt, ma motivation, c'est mettre en œuvre ce que j'ai appris, bien naviguer, de bien gérer moi-même.
My family that was here, good friend with her daughter and her husband, so it was really an emotional start to see that they enjoyed that I go on the water.
Pour le départ, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. C'est un bon départ, mon départ. À tous les concurrents du comité, écoutez, bon vent, attachez-vous bien sûr. Et rendez-vous à Saint-François pour un petit punch. Allez, bon courage.
De la direction de course, to all competitors from race direction, be safe, enjoy, and talk to you tomorrow. Soyez prudents, amusez-vous bien et rendez-vous à la DLU demain. À tous les concurrents de la part de JB et Manon, amusez-vous bien, passez une très bonne transatlantique et on a hâte de vous retrouver de l'autre côté.
Et de Olivier, est-ce que quelqu'un a vu ma femme?
Had quite a good start. Already there, the wind was not as expected, but I managed to get out of the bay. It was a slow first tacking, jibing battle. I was still, before El Hierro, I was not sure which way to pass. And it was difficult to manage the equilibrium between sleeping and going in front, because the first one that will touch the trade winds will have already an advantage. In the beginning of a race you cannot win it, but you can lose it. So my strategy was really not take too much risk until the waypoint.
Nothing. We are Monday evening. Still in the dorsal.
And then the second night, slowly we put the spinnaker and could feel the water that made the little bubbles and started to surf. So from then on we knew we will put down the kite 2 weeks later. First part was to go west. I think I did it quite well with accelerate to get the rotation later of the wind. But during the day, unfortunately, already a piece that I worked on La Palma, I put especially the boat out. It broke and I had, when I was sleeping, I had like water that hit my head. First I looked up because it could have been a fitting that was not sealed anymore, but nothing. So I went slept again. Second time, again water on, and then I looked on the bottom and I had like 200 liters water floating in the boat. And I knew that is not a really good sign.
My head when we have to stop to race. Now we are like this, heading to the Cape Verdes. I have some small hope, but I will try last test with epoxy. But I'm not that confident. It has to hold, so lift out the boat, glue it again, and hope then for the second time it will hold. Take it as it is.
So first I continued to west and tried to empty it, find a solution where is it coming from. I knew this piece was off, and that produces overpressure in front of the keel and puts like in 15 minutes 100 liter water in the boat. So then was in the north of Cape Verde. I went to the south to have time to get a solution, and in the case I will not find it, I can do a stop there. I knew at that moment or it would be really difficult to come back with the first because the level was really intense. I already started to fix it. I cut my foghorn because it had the same shape. I tried all the glues I have to glue it inside in the boat in the water, but nothing worked. What I did is I had a system of a tube connected to a snorkel. Snorkel is like a tube with a hole that we put in the water to fill the ballast. If you have the hole in front, the water is pushing in, so it fills the ballast, and if you invert it and have the hole to the back, sucks the water out. I had a tube connected to this into the keel box, but in the beginning it was stuck and nothing happened, so I had to fill the boat with water under pressure, so I had to accelerate. Even with the 100 liters, I have to take the risk to fill it more, and at one moment scotch and everything stuck in there came out and I could continue. It was not repaired, but I could evacuate more water that came in, so I did the transat with the snorkel on the bottom.
But we are back in the game! Yes, man! It's still a long way to the top. That's a better head. Oh yeah!
But the race continued and I still had the belief there will be an option, and I pushed and had the chance to catch up and crossed a lot of little boats, but I was really happy to be back in the race because that stopover would have emotionally be really complicated, because then you don't do the first goal is to get your boat without stop to Guadeloupe. So I was happy to be back in, at least that goal was assured. Sometimes difficult without external help to get back in the race. So on my MP3 player, a friend did some little phrases to motivate that I could listen.
C'est quoi la suite? Tu veux prendre quelle route? Tu seras sous quelle voile pour combien de temps? Prêt pour faire ça ou il faut que tu t'y mettes là?
For the next days it was more flat, so there was not too much shifts. We only had now our jibes with the daily rhythm of the trade winds. Go fast and try to catch the right side of the wind.
Just told me, just in Xavier on inverting snap. Yeah, numéro 10.
Là-bas, c'est le Grand Sud. Et là, c'est le bordel. Yeah, I had the chance to, from time to time, see other boats, but otherwise I really enjoy to be alone. For me, at least, it's a privilege to be 2 weeks without a phone. No email, no SMS. Can be hard, but in this context, for me, I get to know myself. I have a lot of time to think, but also to enjoy the sea. I had the chance to see a big whale like 100 meters from me. It can be scary, but for me it's really a smooth meeting because they are really slow, big, impressive, but tender.
It's a huge whale. Hobo, that's the other part why we do the transat.
So he just blew out his water, went back. That's where you really connect with nature.
I slept first time in the cockpit this night. There are 2 parts in this race. The adventure and nature boy that loves to be here. Hello! I enjoy the sea. We had some little dolphins this morning. That was really nice. We still keep pushing. See you. Good morning on the 5th November. Sun is rising and we are at less than 1,000 miles.
We had also the chance to have the moon for the whole time and then like full moon in the middle. And you had like an aura on the horizon, so you don't need your lamp. And then also slowly at the second part of the race we had the squalls that start to appear. I had the chance not to face too much. I started to get my rhythm more, live in the night and sleep during the day, because that's where they release their pressure and water.
Hello, it's nighttime. Looks my bed, little mattress, little cushion.
When I'm sailing, it's all about going fast. Regularly I have my procedure to check the sails, the alks, the weight of the boat. It's a lot about trimming, stacking, just feeling the boat, see the weather around. Normally I get up and get my little muesli in the morning when the sun goes up. The little toilet as everybody at home, but in the bucket. A little cleanup of myself, washing, brushing teeth. Try to be quite close to the natural rhythm that I eat in the morning, and then noon and in the evening a little dehydrated meal. We have a lot of ropes on the prototype, so regularly you need to clean that up to not have knots, to be always ready to be able to maneuver. In the morning when it's not too warm and I don't need to trim, I slept. At 15 o'clock, like every day, UTC, we get our meteo brief, so that's like the mess. It's religious on this boat, you don't miss it.
Time to pimp up my little crocs. They're already cute, Elise.
Yeah, and then also I had from friends little packages. From time to time I could have a little moment, put some pins on the crocs and think about the people at home.
Here they are. Thank you.
I spend a lot of time trimming. I love to listen to the sea, but it helps me sometimes to have a selected music from a friend. I had a little playlist. From time to time listen to good sound, because we cannot be in it for 2 weeks, so music helps me to contemplate some minutes and get back. And then after 10 days, under big spinnaker for sure in 20 knots. Black screen on the pilot.
At 4 o'clock in the morning, so I had to get down the kite without autopilot.
Helming in the cockpit with one arm inside and feeling where I am, so it's not the most pleasant situation. The command of the whole pilot was dead. Tried to connect my other screen. 1 hour later continued the race, but yeah, it was not a pleasant situation. At that moment also I heard Thaïs again at the VHF, so I knew I came back in the front pack, which was again a motivation to continue.
Fingers crossed that it holds until the Guadeloupe, which is still 600 miles. It would be hard to sail all that on hand steering.
And then unfortunately last day with the experience from the last race, I said, yeah, wind is picking up. My Big Bounce is tired, I'm tired, so we will play safe. I will lose more if I attack and break something than if I in a reduced configuration, so I took the big speed down. Like trained, I prepared all the weight in the back. I checked 3 times if every halyard is passing at the right place. Blow the kite, and in the second wave, I nosedived, and the bowsprit went under the keel. It took me like 10-15 minutes to get it out, and I hope I didn't check the keel yet, but it hurt me to hurt that boat.
You see the mess? Just did a nosedive. I think this race is really not for me, but we are not giving up. We put this back together, check the boat, and then we're up in the game. But really, I cannot understand. Why? Fuck you, man.
At this moment, Thaïs came back, and I saw now on the on the chart I was there quite close also to the 5th place. Again, a throwback, but the next day I worked 5 days in the sun. I had the chance, nothing was broken structurally, but all the ropes were chafed, so I had to splice on the front of the boat, just about get back in the race and fight for my 6th.
Looking at me like I'm a fool. Deep down inside, they know I'm a hump. I said now the moment of hump has finally come. And I'm gonna show you some of that food. Now give me a little bit of drum by himself there. Now give me a little bit of bass with those 88.
At this moment I saw Thaïs coming from the back, and she dropped the spinnaker, and I was like, why is she doing that? Then I turned my head and I saw a big black wall coming, so I get all my needles back in the bag, and then 35 knots hit in. I took a reef, but the whole mast was shaking.
Il y a Félix là-bas, là. Il a réparé son boudeur parce qu'il a passé le boudeur sur le bateau tout à l'heure. Enfin planté, il y a un bras qui a lâché. On va sûrement arriver à peu près en même temps. Ça passe de 13 à 25 nœuds en un claquement de doigts comme ça là. Oh la vache.
And then the night I was able to put back the bowsprit. If they broached with the small speed, so I put the big, and it was like the best sailing I had on these 2 years. 25 knots, 1 reef, big spinnaker, and gliding never below 15 knots, up to 20.
So, forward, somebody across there. Up to 17 knots and a little muesli, bring me closer to the goal.
You have the numbers on your pilot, but I feel it in my ass, and just be connected with the boat, feel the wave, surf and see this wake behind. It's really a moment where I can be for myself, enjoy and just be one with the weather and my friend the boat. Flying over the waves at 19 knots under a full moon, that is from a sailing hard, you cannot live better.
Straight wind clouds, magic sailing, sunset, flat waves, and we're back in the game. 7th today. Keep pushing! My last orange. Not easy at 14 knots. Cooking at 16 knots. And I really never saw below 15 knots on a 6-meter boat. It's quite intense. It's average over 24 hours of more than 300 miles. And yeah, you cannot stand, you cannot cook, you even sleep. You get your breath that is broken due to the slamming. So it's hard life, but the feeling of this acceleration is really what I was looking forward to sailing this Big Bounce prototype. First time you see Tracker and the Rival on the same. Last evening of the Mini Transat 2025. We're now 100 miles from La Désirade. It's 8 UTC, so the last sundown. It was a hell of an adventure. This Transat, no, it was the 2 years with that, the boat. The whole group of Florian, we pushed each other, learned a lot. So I want to thank Manny for your red bee on the sail. Without this, it would not have been MMT&T. For everybody that put his energy in this project. Also to all the friends and the family that accepted me again 2 years doing this. So as you see, I'm flying towards Guadeloupe. And then, yeah, like already the afternoon I started to see more birds again. That was the sign we get close to land. And then during the night I saw the red flashing lights of La Désirade. An intense moment because you know now you're back on land, you will do it. Arrived again with the small spinnaker on the edge and full speed towards the finish line. The line crossing for me is always a bit non-real because you're 2 weeks alone at sea, you have your rhythm guided by the sun and the wind more or less. And then in a couple of minutes you get down your sails, the Zodiac packs you, but then you hear your music that we choose.
I woke up to the morning sky first. Baby blue, just like we rehearsed.
And you see all the people that you sailed with, because at least in the Mini, it's really, we trained for 2 years together. It was really a nice pack to share all this time with these people.
Ça va Félix, comment tu vas?
Ben, c'est cool d'arriver là. Fallait aller dans l'ouest. Je me réveille avec l'eau qui me gicle dessus. 200 litres d'eau dans le bateau. Et après là, il y a 3 jours, il y a un pilote qui a dit au revoir. Dans 20 nœuds, à Falaise-Pi, son pilote, se mettre à la cape, bricoler un pilote. Et puis hier, je voulais faire safe quand le vent montait. J'affale le grand spi, je mets le médium. Deuxième vague, je plante et puis bout d'heure sous le bateau. J'ai bricolé 4 heures pour remettre ça, pour pouvoir continuer avec Thaïs, mais sinon tout va bien.
En als succeed there.
Hello? Good train.
I had like a mix of different emotions, happy to see them again, to share this experience because they're the only ones that know what we did.
Mon compagnon de route, pas mon bébé.
All the sailors were on a different place, but they lived the same adventure. To share that are always rich emotions, and that is also what connects us for after the race for a long time, I think. A Transat is never as expected. There was a small tear not to be able to sail the race that I would have wished with the friends I trained for 2 years. To see my difference, how I managed these situations that I faced emotionally but also technically. I really learned about me, my feeling, what I need, how far can I go, in which mode I am, and to be back in the race, that is much stronger for me than just a number.
Sixième de Suisse, Felix Oberle.
The favorite film of me, at the start of the bobsled run, they say, Coach, how do I know if I'm enough? And they say, you will feel it when you cross the line. And now I know it, because I managed to get to know me, face unknown situations, and bring a boat back in one piece from La Palma to Guadeloupe. Project, or this life, we can say, started 4 years ago when I attached Mingolai, my boat from the first Mini Transat, onto my white minivan. I had just a point of GPS in Lorient. 4 years later now, I met a lot of amazing people, a lot of adventure, learned a lot on me. Now I arrived in Guadeloupe. Today I gave back my apartment. I'm back in my van. This van is packed with a lot of experiences, emotions and friends, and he's now up, started for new adventures.
Hey, Coach. How will I know if I'm enough? When you cross that finish line, you'll know.